In this video, we're going to talk about the CG border feature of the MLS switcher, and that allows you to create a resizer effect with a graphic edge such as the one you're seeing on screen. It's an easy way of creating a much more complex looking box with a lot less effort. So if we have a look at the frame memory common menu, you can sort of see the building blocks here on FM 14 and 15 and 16. Frame memory 15 and 16 are providing the overlay box, and frame memory 14 is providing the matte effect that we're going to use to mask the video off behind it. So I can show you how to build that very easily now. We're going to use ME2, key 1. The first thing we need to do is split the key, which I can do from the menu. Instead of being on auto select, we go to split, and we're going to add that matte as our key signal, which is on frame memory 14. Once I've done that, I'm going to go to key 2, and I'm going to make sure that that's correctly sourced to frame memory 15 and frame memory 16, which will give us the overlay graphic. Then on key 1, I'm going to turn the key on. I'm going to go to resizer, turn on the resizer and hit CG border. And you'll see the effect is already coming together. I can now resize that as normal, and both keys will move together. But crucially, and a very big feature of CG border, I have pan and scan capability within that box. So if I go to CG border, you can see on the right hand side I have an X, Y and size option. And using my menu control knobs, I can start to move the image around within my box. So I can pan and scan and make sure we're more on the swimmer's face in the box, and I can even zoom it up as well if required. And that's all independent of the resizer movement on the two keys. So effectively I've got full cropping capability within my bespoke effect. That's a really useful way to quickly create a much more complex looking, say, picture-in-picture box such as this, without having to mess around too much with my other settings. What I'm now going to show you is how we can use some of those options to create a box without the graphic overlay but still utilising the pan and scan effect. So let's select a new background for our new effect, say this one, and I'm going to come back to my menu, and this time on key 2, the sourcing is just going to be black on both sides. So I'm going to make both my key and fill source black, which I'm doing now in the menu. I need to make sure my resizer is off on key 2 before I activate CG border in all cases, or I won't be able to turn the effect on. In key 1, this time I'm going to use the camera pointed at me, camera 1, and I'm just going to make the fill source white, like it would normally be. Just like that. This time, when I turn CG border on, nothing will change, and I can still resize it as normal. I'm now going to mask that as if it's a portrait box. So I'm going to turn on my key mask pattern, and I'm going to choose a nice vertical wipe. So say that's my box. But of course, I don't fit. So that's where the CG border is going to come in. And I can move, with my menu encoders, the image within that box. Now that's really great to build with because I can still resize just like the CG border, and I can put the box wherever it needs to go, say in the bottom right corner, but this time I can size up and I can pull the image down and move it around. And that way, when I sit back in my chair, I'm still in the box. Even though the original image was full frame like that, the cornered version is just using one half of the image. And that's a really good way of using the CG border functionality in a slightly different situation to help with panning and scanning an image within a box.